All right, welcome to Bish's. We're gonna go shoot through, show you how to use a few things, and hope you enjoy your trip. You got these steps, you gotta pull this lever in here. Set it down like this. If you're on uneven ground here, there's adjustable legs. You can adjust this. Make sure the steps are stable so you can get up in and out. So in order to fill your fresh water tank, that's the water that we bring with us so we can use if we're camped up in the boonies, not hooked up to city water. This is called the gravity fill. You can stick your hose in here, turn the water on, let it run. When you see water spilling out on the ground, the tank is full. At the end of your trip and it's time to come home, we're going to want to go ahead and drain the fresh water tank. That drain is down here. Petcock is to the right, it's open. And if it's to the left, it's closed. Right here we have an outside kitchen area. It has this little refrigerator. This is a typical little dorm style refrigerator that has to have 110 electricity. So you have to be plugged into the RV park in order for this refrigerator to work. It will not run off of just battery power. This is the water heater. There's not a lot for you to do out here. You're going to operate it from inside, and we'll show you how to do that in a few moments. Right now, the drain plugs out of this. When you pick it up, it'll be in there. If you see a little bit of water dribbling out of this right here, that's going to be just fine. A little drip here and there is fine. It's doing its job. If you see water pouring out of that while you're trying to use it, might want to give us a call at BishFix, and we can talk you through how to take care of that. Water holding tank and a black water holding tank. Those are the sewer tanks. The gray water is your sink in your shower, and the black water is the toilet waste. We've got a monitor panel in there that we look at the lights. We'll go over that when we get inside so we can see how full the tanks are. When it comes time to dump it, we get our sewer hose here, and we've got the sewer outlet right here, and we've got these little hooks on the hose. Hook that on there. You see this has got a gray handle on it, and that valve in there has got a black handle on it. We dump the black handle first. You can listen, you can see the hose wiggling, so you can see when the hose is empty. You shut the black valve, then you open the gray valve, and that gray water will flush out that sewer hose, so it's not a very nasty job when you do it like that. Keep in mind, when you go to the RV park, you're going to pull in, they're going to have full hookups. You can go ahead and hook your hose up and set it up in the dump station, but you cannot leave the valves open. You have to leave the valves shut and dump the tanks as needed. Again, we'll go over the monitor panel when we get inside so we can see what to do with that. Right here we have our docking station. If we go to the RV park and we want to hook up to city water, we hook up here, right here. And there's a little lever in here. That's tank fill and city. If we want to fill the freshwater tank, we have the gravity fill on the other side, or we can have a hose hooked up here. We put this lever in that position, tank fill, and it'll fill the freshwater tank. Again, when you see water spilling out on the ground, the tank is full, and you can shut the water off. If you're at the RV park, we flip the lever down to city water. We turn the hose bib on, and we'll have city water pressure, and we can just use all of our fixtures as if they're hooked up to city water. And this fitting right here is a tank flush. So that will spray water in the black tank and help you flush it out. This will be in the baggage compartment. As you can see, it's got 3 little prongs on it, and this one here's got a little L on it. We open this up and we find the one that's got the L on it. So we match that up, and usually it just goes straight down. Hook that on there, give it a little twist, and then you just tighten this collar up, and that'll just lock your shore cord in. And when we plug in, there will be a breaker on the pole. You'll want to flip that breaker off when you plug in your shore cord, and then flip it on. Right here is where your propane tanks are. You got your propane bottles. This is your propane regulator. You just open the bottles by turning them to the left. You can go ahead and open both of these bottles. This is your propane regulator. It has a selector valve on it. You don't really need to worry about that. All that does is it just points at the bottle that it's going to draw off of first. When this bottle gets empty, internally it switches over and there will be a little window in here that'll show red when that bottle's empty. And it's just telling you that the bottle that is pointed at is empty. This is our slide out. It's probably going to come out to about here. So we want to just make sure, check our surroundings. We don't have any trees in the way or anything else in the way that's going to interfere with that slide coming out. So this is our power tongue jack. There's a switch here for a light that'll help us hitch up at nighttime. And it's got to retract and extend. And this will lower and raise the trailer for helping us to hitch up. So here we are inside the trailer, just inside the entry door, and we kind of got the command center here. We've got some light switches that are for the interior lights and whatnot. This, I believe, is for the porch. This is our slide out switch. So again, we've checked to make sure we have clearance on the outside so we can go ahead and run that slide out. We want to refrain from getting on the slide, sitting at the dinette or on the couch when the slide is in the in position. You got to wait for the slide to be out to get on the couch and in the dinette seats. When you hear that ratcheting sound, the slide's all the way out and release the button. So we've got our awning switch here. If this switch here will allow the awning to roll out. It's in a 12-volt awning, very easy to operate. When you go out for a hike or go out fishing on the lake or something like that, you never want to leave the trailer unattended with the awning out because a wind gust could come up and tear the awning off, and we definitely don't want that to happen. Okay, and then back over here, this is our monitor panel. This is how we check the levels of our holding tanks. We kind of talked about that a little bit outside. This will help us to see how full our batteries are. They're fully charged. Our fresh water is going to be empty because we have not put water in it. Our black tank is going to be empty, and our gray tank is empty. If one of these holding tanks were full like that, then all the lights would light up, similar to that right there. If we're camping out in the woods, not hooked up to a city water, we're going to use the water pump and pump water out of the freshwater tank. We do that by turning the water pump on here. It'll run for a little bit, build up a head of pressure, and then shut itself off. You just leave the water pump switch on the whole time you're out camping. It'll build up that head of pressure and shut itself off, and it'll only turn itself on when you open up a faucet and ask for water. Your water heater switch is here for propane and electric. So if you're out camping in the woods, you turn the water heater on here and it'll light and run on propane. Keep your water hot. If you're at the RV park plugged in, you can turn this on and you'll be able to heat your water using electricity. Right down here we have a couple of safety devices. This is a propane detector and it's also a CO detector. It'll start squawking at you if it senses a propane leak or an abundance of CO2 in the area. What you want to do is if that thing starts going off, the best thing to do is to go outside, turn your propane tanks off, open up the doors and windows, let it air out, then try to figure out maybe what caused it. Very often, what has caused it is someone has left a stove valve on without it being lit, and that'll cause propane to just leak out into the trailer. And that's most likely probably what happened. So what you want to do, turn off the propane, let it air out, and then try to figure out what happened, what caused the alarm to go off. Right over here on the ceiling is a smoke detector, just like you would have in your house. If that starts going off, you'd probably want to look into what's going on, get out of the trailer. So right down here we have our breakers and our breaker panel and our fuse panel. Right here, these are all 110 electricity breakers, just very similar to like what you would have at home. If the breaker is tripped, it's going to look something like that. We can just reset it by doing that. These are all your 12-volt fuses. They protect all your things that run off the battery power. If one of these fuses is blown, there will be a red light on right next to it, so it's pretty easy to figure out what fuse is blown there. All the 110 things run all the household type power, like your 110 outlets, your air conditioner, your microwave, that kind of thing. And the 12-volt fuses operate everything that run off of battery power, like your lighting, your furnace, your refrigerator, things like that. Here we have a 12-volt refrigerator. It's got two different controls. The controls down here are the main controls. You hold the set button for 3 seconds and it'll turn the refrigerator on, and then you have 5 different settings for it to operate. And then this dial up here in the freezer directs how much cold air is going to go from the freezer down into the refrigerator box. So if you need a little bit colder air, you crank that number up a little bit there, and that's how it works. All right, so here we have our thermostat. We can run our air conditioner or our furnace from this. In order to run the air conditioner, we do have to be plugged into shore power. We slide the switch over to cool, lower the temperature with the temperature slider here. Air conditioner kicks on. Good idea to just have this fan switch in the auto position. That'll have the fan kick on and off with the compressor. If it's a really hot day, I would recommend maybe actually switching that fan over to the high position. That'll keep the fan running when the compressor's not running, so it'll help dissipate the condensation buildup on the compressor. When it's time to use the furnace, I switch it over to heat. I slide the temperature control up to our desired temperature, and our furnace will kick on and start creating heat. It'll heat up to your desired temperature and shut itself off and kick on and off as needed to satisfy the temperature you're asking for. And then click it back to off when you're done using both the furnace and the air conditioner. All right, here's our RV toilet. So when you get this, you're going to want to put chemical in there. You can get it in little packages. You just step on the foot pedal, drop it on in there, and run some water into the holding tank. When it's time to use the toilet, if we're going to go number 2, we're going to want to just gently push down on the pedal and just open the water valve and just add a little bit of water to the toilet, and then just flush it. You just step down all the way. That'll open the flush valve and run water into the toilet. When we are out camping, we're using the holding tanks. We're going to go to that monitor panel we looked at a little bit earlier, and we're going to watch those levels on those tanks. So you're going to dump those tanks as needed. You never want to, when you hook up the RV park, they'll have a hose connection there with a dump station. You never want to leave those valves open. You want to leave those holding valves shut. Keep an eye on the monitor panel. When they start to get up to 2/3 or full, then it's time to dump them. Just dump your tanks as needed. You got to use the holding tanks. If you were to leave those valves open, solid stays in the tank, liquid goes down the hose. Creates a pretty bad problem. So anyway, enjoy your camping trip.